Hey guys, welcome back. Merry Christmas. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas day with plenty of turkey and plenty of stuffing and all the good stuff. And some of you who don't eat turkey, turkey alternatives, okay? Very strange people, but what can you do? You are who you are. And I appreciate you all. Anyway, we're here for a Christmas special. First of possibly two, not sure, depending on how today goes. Now, this was Christmas Eve in the Ingham household, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. When all of a sudden, a little sorry, I can't do it. So it was Christmas Eve in the Ingham household. Okay, so they this is one of their big earners of the year, always a special day. Sarah herself said that Christmas Eve is the most special day of the year, which I found astounding. I did. You know, if you're talking about Christmas and you are like a really big Christmas person, a Christmas fan, wouldn't Christmas Day be the most special day of the year? I'm just saying, wouldn't that be the one that you look forward to the most, not Christmas Eve? For a lot of people, Christmas Eve is very much a prepping day, getting ready for the big day, which is Christmas Day. And you are getting, quite a lot of people get stressed, I guess. They want everything to go well the next day, so you're prepping all the food, possibly, if you want to get ready in that way. You're getting the house ready in order. You're tidying up, making sure everything is spick and span, ready for Santa to come in the morning. And that is what you're doing on Christmas Eve, getting all your last minute shopping if you need it. But not Sarah. She did none of that whatsoever, not even a little bit. She had every single last ounce of the day prepped and it's kind of organized so that all her kids have to do such and such a thing on by the minute. It just blows my mind how they live their life. You see, I have nothing against loving Christmas. I love Christmas. And as a child, I used to really love Christmas. It was like my favourite time of year. But what Sarah's doing is not normal. It's not, because it's not an enjoyable way of living her day, her Christmas. It's not a way of enjoying it. It's a way of, what's the word when you want people to do what you want them to do? Very controlling. I mean, you can't expect all your kids, maybe the younger ones, to do certain activities. Maybe you might think that they find it fun, but your older kids, no. So the day started thusly. Okay, you had all the kids, and by all the kids I mean every single child from 17 months old right through to 17 years old. And they all came down at the same time. See, this I don't get as well. Why would your 17-year-old be waking up at the same time as your 17-month-old? I'm just saying it probably wouldn't happen. They all have different schedules. Anyway, they all came down at the same time. And they walked into the kitchen where this huge table spread was out for their breakfast. Now, this is just stupid, right? Because the only time they ever spread anything out for breakfast is Christmas Eve and Easter. Those are the days that I've seen. Again, Easter is another one. I don't get that one either. But anyway, so they come down and they see this huge spread out of breakfast and all the insane items that you can ever think of. Donuts and cupcakes and what was it in the bowl? Marshmallows and... blowed my mind. Blowed it even. See, my English language is gone through the insanity. It blew my mind. And just looking at that, I thought, what? Just no. I mean, I've seen this year after year, but it still astounds me. Right. So, yeah, they did that, and they had the regular Santa letter things going on. So you sit there eating your crap for breakfast, and you sit there writing your Santa letter. They only showed Isla writing her letter, but I assume the rest did theirs as well. And this is another thing I don't get. Why do they leave it till Christmas Eve to write a letter to Santa? You see, then went along to the post box, which was apparently their annual Christmas walk to the post box, Christmas Eve walk to the post box, and they posted the letters off to Santa, including Isabel. I'm sorry, but is this real? Is this real life? Is this like, are they doing it intentionally to make people talk and to troll everybody? But Isabel is 17. In fact, you know, this coming year she's going to be 18, officially an adult, right? So I'm swaying more towards her being an adult now rather than being a child. Yes, she's technically a child. She's under the age of 18. She's at that age where she's kind of in between, I guess, but she's more towards 18 than anything else. So she should not be included in any of these. By all means, go for a walk. You know, that's fine. Most of those kids could do with it some exercise, get some fresh air, right? But to actually have your 17, nearly 18-year-old write a letter to Santa and then go and post it, that completely blows my mind. Absolutely. I mean, I can't not only not get my head around it, but I cannot even fathom why that would even be a thing ever. I cannot think of any nearly 18-year-old who would write a letter to Santa. Baffling. Absolutely baffling. And not only that, but the whole writing letters to Santa on Christmas Eve just is weird to me. Why would you do it? Because even the kids, they know that, surely they know that if you ask Santa for something and it's too late, it's too late to affect change at that stage. It was like 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening or something. I mean, Santa's already left. I'm sorry, but if you think, right, Santa has a huge trip on his hands. He has to go around so many different places, so many countries all over the world, and he leaves at least 24 hours before he arrives in the UK to deliver. So by the time they're writing this letter to Santa, he's already left the North Pole. So how do you even think that he's going to get this information? And what if your kids do ask for something that you haven't got them? That kind of throws something into the works, like, But also, your kids do also know that Sarah, you happen to you buy the gifts and send them off to Santa, so they know that these gifts are not coming from Santa. You've openly admitted it, so they know that the gifts that they receive on Christmas Day aren't coming from Santa, they're coming from you. Anyway, it's all very confusing to me. So then we're back at the house, and they're making this like Christmas tree puff pastry Nutella concoction. I think I remember them doing this exact same thing last year. So like I said, Sarah wants her kids to do things in the order that she wants them to do them and what she wants them to do. Doesn't matter if the kids want to do any of this at all. So they did that, and then it was up to the Christmas Eve boxes, which still baffle me. I don't know. I mean, I know Christmas Eve boxes are a thing these days. It's a fairly new thing, but I'm sure that these boxes are supposed to be a little bit smaller. Now, each kid had a huge box, and it shouldn't surprise me because they have the same box every single year with the same crap in it, and it was a huge box, but it had all sorts of crap in it, getting as much, I'd say it's a little bit bad taste, because they're getting in their Christmas Eve box alone more things than some of their iFam will be getting for Christmas Day, for Christmas morning, right? So I don't get it. And the other thing I don't get is why Isabel is involved in this again. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that she should be excluded from everything, but she's been treated the exact same as they're treating her 17-year-old sister, 17-month-old sister. And I just think that she should now be treated more as an adult than as a child, because she's acting like an adult in certain circumstances, so she should be being treated like an adult, not this like kid that they want her to be. So, I mean, why Chris and Sarah not getting a box if it's important for the adults of the family to have these Christmas Eve boxes? I'm just saying it because Isabel is almost an adult, Anyway, so they've all got again, along the same lines, they've all got these matching PJs, and again, I know this is a thing, particularly amongst influencers. It's a tradition which kind of drives me a little bit insane, because like, it looks stupid, let's be honest. Which 17, nearly 18-year-old wants to dress in the same pajamas as their 17-month-old baby? Their 17-month-old sister, sorry. And their 3-year-old brother, and the rest of the basically, when you're 17, you're at that stage where you're kind of more cut off from the family. You're cut off from the rest of your siblings. You no longer want to hang out with them and stuff like. Well, when you get to like 14, 15, that you get to that stage. But Isabel just hasn't progressed any further. But she's almost an adult, as I said, and she's dressing the same as her parents as well. It just doesn't make sense. You just wouldn't want to, would you? You know, I grew up in a household with 4 children, and like I wouldn't have wanted to be dressed the same as my siblings. No. Then it was on to the Secret Santa gifts, and it was it was every bit as bad as the rest of the vlog, really. Again, they got more for their Secret Santa than a lot of kids do for their Christmas morning. I'm just putting this out there, though. I think that the whole Secret Santa thing seemed like a fix. I know they drew it. They drew the names out of the hat weeks ago, but it just dawned on me, sorry, that both Jace and Isla Jace and Mila both got each other, and that's convenient because for the very reason that neither of them will understand if they were to tell each other what, you know, they couldn't tell each other that they got each other, so that's convenient for that reason. Esme and Isla got each other as usual because they know each other. They want to buy each other gifts, which is nice, but it wasn't a surprise that they got each other because they want each other. So yeah. And obviously Chris and Sarah got each other. So it's no, Chris and Sarah didn't get each other. Sarah got Isabel and Chris got Sarah. This was weird. It really was. Because Sarah got Isabel and Chris took half the credit. He said, "This is from the both of us," or something like that. And it confused me a little bit because didn't Chris pay for Sarah's donation to the toys? Remember, Sarah was donating her gift and that was Chris who was buying it for her. So there we go. The other thing I'd like to know is who's paying for these gifts that the kids are getting each other, because it's a no budget Secret Santa, and that is the first thing I'd like to say is, if it's no budget, why are they not splashing out? You would splash out, wouldn't you? But instead they've got such crap stuff. You know, it was, I think Esme got some earbuds, like earphones, but not AirPods, which presumably is what she would be better off having because they're better quality. But she got these cheap knockoffs from Amazon or something. And if it's a no budget, you would go all out and get proper good stuff, wouldn't you? But they didn't. But who's paying for these? Because the kids are not going to have the money to buy them. I mean, they should, obviously. They definitely should, because they are, you know, they're child actors after all, and they just should be getting paid. They should have a huge amount of money in their account. But do they really get this amount of money for their pocket money? I don't know. But they should actually be paying for it out of their own money, even if it's only even if they only have a bit of money, they should be paying for it, especially Isla, Esme and Isabel. They should be using their own money to, you know. Now, down to the nitty gritty, because this is what people are up in arms about, and I do not blame them. Isabel gave Chris a mug, and it said the words CUNT on it, right? Now, this is a particularly bad word, in my opinion. I mean, I've never in my life called anybody this. I'm not going to start now. For a lot of people, they draw the line at this particular word. And I would think that a 17-year-old girl would be quite offended to even say that word. Is that not I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being a bit too oversensitive here, but I just think that it's not really the sort of thing that a teenage girl would be comfortable saying. But oddly enough, she gave her dad she was comfortable enough to give her dad a mug which said that word on it, and it was just it's a very inappropriate thing to be saying to your parents. I think we can probably all agree with that. But the other aspect is, this is a very allegedly family-friendly vlog. And whilst Chris said, if you're watching with kids, please tell them to look away now. You know, that's fine. Well, it's not fine, but, you know, that's one thing. But what if the kids, they invariably watch on their own, these kids, because, you know, most of the iFam do watch on their own, right? I think we can agree with that. They don't watch with their parents, these 10, 12, 13-year-olds or whatever. So they're not going to look away. So you are showing that language to all these kids. You have a responsibility, and that's disgusting and disgraceful, and quite how this is even a thing is beyond me. I mean, imagine you allow your kid to watch this crap, and you find out that they've been exposed to such horrible words. It's not your responsibility to tell people that their kids are allowed to listen to this. So there we go. Not happy, I'm not. Sarah had a little rant towards the end because her day didn't go the way she wanted it to go. She says that she put so much pressure on herself to make the perfect Christmas Eve, and it didn't quite go as planned. They struggled to take the annual Ingham Christmas Eve photo because Mila was just, you know, being a child, a baby, and wouldn't sit still, you know, that sort of thing. Sarah also smashed a glass by accident. She knocked it off the side, apparently. Reading between the lines, I'd say Sarah had a right she had a right go at somebody during the day. Probably all her family and her kids probably were in the firing line. So yeah, sounded fun. But again, it comes back to the point that, you know, why spend the entire Christmas Eve worrying about what you're gonna where your kids need to be at certain times and what you need to do. You need to do this. You need to write your Santa letter. You need to go on your annual Santa walk, or your annual walk to the post box and post it and stuff like that. But speaking of which, right, there was a rather large deal made of new traditions that they were going to make this year, or rather traditions. And Sarah said last year they created a new tradition where Chris dressed up in a turkey and went round to neighbours' houses and posted Christmas cards, or handed out Christmas cards and stuff like that, right? That didn't happen this year. After all that talk, they wanted to make it fantastically special and, it's magical and everything, but they didn't bother. They just didn't bother. I'm disappointed. You can't have a tradition, and even calling it a tradition, which means something that you have done many times and it's become a thing. You've done it once, and then you didn't even bother to do it again. Anyway, just a side note. Maybe they did do it. They just didn't film it. They didn't say anything. But judging by what happened in the day, I don't think they had time to do it. Anyway, just saying. So, yeah, that was the Ingham Christmas Eve special, and it was brilliant. I've got to say, there was so many talking points that I just couldn't not talk about it, because some things just baffled me, some things infuriated me, some things I'm not going to bother talking about because I can't be bothered getting into debates over I don't want to say insignificant things, but anyway, I hope you all had a lovely day. I hope you've enjoyed this little special treat for you all, and I hope that you all continue to have a lovely Boxing Day. Remember, Boxing Days are not just in the Ingham house, they are worldwide phenomenons. That's right. Have a lovely day. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.